Kilo 8 Tango Lima Charlie.
Tango Lima Charlie, come back with your call again.
It's Kilo 8 Tango Lima Charlie.
Roger, Roger. What's the name there?
The handle here is Ron, Romeo Oscar November.
Roger, Roger. Ron, a nice signal there. Where are you?
Portland, Michigan.
Beautiful signal. What kind of power are you running there?
Probably 50 watts.
Hey, are you serious?
Serious. I do have I was going to have you check my amplifier. I just have that ICOM PW1, and I was going to see what it sounded like, but it sounds like I'm getting in pretty good there.
Well, I mean, don't spoil the party. Fire up. Let's see where it goes. Right now, you're 10 dB above my noise level, but we are recording, so we'll just see how much better that amp is. Roger.
Roger that. I just put it on. I'm putting out about 200 amps, or 200 watts, I'm sorry. And did it make any difference?
You're about 15 dB over my noise level. Sound like your audio might have been a little strange. You might have pulled off mic or something. I'm not real sure. Come back, stay on mic, and talk to me for a minute.
All right. What it is, I've just got this ICOM 7610, and I'm trying to tie it together in this ICOM PW1, and I'm not used to the controls on this yet, and I'm trying to set it up.
Roger that. Well, what it sounds like is that your microphone is putting plosives into your compressor and it sucking it back. Do you have a windscreen you could put on your mic?
What I've got is I just took the compression off. I only had it at 20%, but I turned the compression off, and the mic is the one that comes with the Pro Set 7 from I can't pull it off. It's already on there. K8TLC.
Roger, but do you have a windscreen, a foam windscreen around or on the mic?
Yes, I do.
Wow, that's not a very good windscreen, sir. It's letting a lot of transients go through, and what's happening is that wind power is making it through your windscreen and just inundating your diaphragm with a heavy velocity, and it just sucks the volume right down for a quarter of a second, then it recuperates and comes back up. But I would suggest seriously getting a much better windscreen, Roger.
Roger that. I did back the mic away from my face. I usually keep it within an inch. I got it about 2 inches away. Does that make a difference?
It's still trying to suck down on the beginning of the syllable. Do you do you happen to have a sock? I mean, just a sock, a regular sock. We'll try an experiment, Roger.
I'm in the basement right now. I did turn the mic gain down 8%. Does that make a difference?
That's helping a lot. Let's see, maybe down just a little bit more, and then we could maybe try to bring up the compressor and see where that goes.
Sorry for the wait. I actually bumped the dial, and I changed frequency. Okay, I dropped it down to 9%. The handle here is Ron. Is your name Jim? Go ahead.
Roger, yeah, Jim, Juliet, India, Mike, and we're located near Louisville, Kentucky, just across the river. I think we're getting into a better situation there. It doesn't seem to be sucking down quite as much. Gosh, I wish we had something just to put over that mic to eliminate the acoustical plosives possibilities. That's what it sounds like to me, but you know, I can't be sure until we you know, put a little bit better filter on there and see what that does. Roger.
Roger that. Okay, what I did do is I pulled the sock off my old, I got another station here off and I was wondering if that made a difference. It's I do have another sock on there.
Yeah, I have no plosive problems now. You're clean as far as sucking down. Now I would engage the compressor at about a 3. If you have a 1 to 10, I would engage the compressor at about a 3. If it's a 0 to 100, I would do it at 30. Roger, Roger.
Roger that. What I've got here is the control on it is in a menu, and what I've got the compression set at wide. I'd have to go through there and try and reset it up. What I could do is check out and come back in a bit after I get this straightened around.
Roger. Well, I would just forget the compressor for right now. You're doing well. See, the compressor is just going to give you a fatter audio sound. Like, you know, if you get your dynamic range down to about a 3 dB dynamic range, you will sound twice as loud as what you do in a non-processed situation, because the average peak modulation of unprocessed audio is about 30%. That's the average peak modulation. Whereas then when you start to process it, you will, you know, approach maybe a 4 dB dynamic range or a 3 dB dynamic range, and that's a nice fat signal. Roger.
Roger that. What I do have is I did set it up where the treble, the center frequency is up +3. And the bass is down a -2. That's the setting it's at right now.
Roger. You might try adding a tad on the bottom end. Now, you know, that's EQ is a kind of a thing where you have to do it gradually from the one end and then do it from the other end. But I think maybe you could take a couple of clicks on the bottom end to kind of help your tonality. Right now, you're fairly thin. Roger.
Roger that. I'll go ahead and set that down then.
Roger. Can you do that now?
Yes, I can, but I have to bring the menu up.
Roger, Roger. And the next most important thing is to stay your proximity to microphone. You need to figure out where you want to be and stay right there, because if you pull off mic, you know, your signal is going to suffer. So I'll let you do your menu thing there. Are you pretty familiar with your menu? And he said, yes, I am. Flipping through them pages and say, hey, where's, and why not, and where'd that go?
Go ahead and program it back in.
I'm sorry, we doubled.
All right, I was trying to set it up between transmissions, and it didn't, I didn't have any luck, because I was trying to, whenever I talk, I lose the menu and I go back to the main screen, so I have to reset it up. So it just takes just a moment to set it up.
Roger, Roger. Well, you go ahead and do that, and I will just expound upon the menu that retracts itself back to where it was before I stupidly said go somewhere. You know, in my estimation, a menu should go where I tell it to go, and it should stay there until I tell it to go somewhere else. This stuff of the menu deciding where it's going to go is BS. That's stupid design. Particularly, it's so nerve-wracking, because when you're just coming along with a new radio, you don't know really what you're doing, but you get to where you want to go, and before you can figure out exactly what to do where you went, the menu decides, you're stupid, I'm going back to where I was and wait for you. And it just causes so much consternation and confusion. If the menu would just go and stay where I put it, it would be beautiful.
Roger that. This is RON-K8TLC for ID. Okay, I did adjust the bass up to 0, and left the and I moved the treble down to +2. Now this is without the windsock on, and this is with the windsock. I mean, that was with the windsock off. Now it's with the windsock on. Which is better?
Well, you know, obviously the windscreen on is better because, like I say, you're still getting transients in that microphone into the audio system, and it's sucking down for the first quarter of a second on the word, or eighth of a second. So you definitely want to keep the windscreen on any mic that you use with that radio, Roger.
Roger that. Well, this Pro set comes with it has a windsock on it, but it's only about a ½ inch in diameter, and they got it tie wrapped on there. The windsock I have on the other mic is, you know, about 2 inches in diameter, and I could just put a tie wrap around it and just use that for now, I guess. Anyways, what do you think of the volume on it?
Well, I can't tell because you know, it's fairly unprocessed as far as you know, fattening up. It's pretty loose. What you do you have an ALC reading?
Yes. See the ALC. Oh yeah, looks like it's pretty high here. It's kicking up about mid-range. I should back that down.
No, actually, mid-range is probably where you need to be. Middle ALC possibilities, mid-scale of the ALC reading.
Yeah. Okay. On the PW1 amplifier, it does have a meter, you know, regular standard meter, and it shows that I'm barely kicking it up at all. Matter of fact, I'm not putting out much power at all here.
All right. Well, your ALC should. Well, let's see here. I'm trying to think. In your regular ALC position, as you speak into the microphone at your normal proximity to the microphone, what reading do you have on the ALC meter?
Well, the ALC is barely moving. Let's see here. And I'm only putting out about 100 watts. So I definitely, this is not set up properly. I don't know, let's see here. I'm unfamiliar with the rig, so it's a little hard here. Okay, I changed the settings on the mic gain, put it back to 12%, and it doesn't seem to make much difference in the ALC. I might not be putting out enough power. I'm only putting out, you know, I'm only driving the amplifier with about 50 watts. So, anyways, I should play with this some more, maybe, and get back with you. K8TLC.
KC9VKV. Well, I tell you, can you look at your ALC reading? Can you look at your ALC meter and adjust your mic volume at the same time?
Maybe if I had more time with the rig. I hate to say it. Let's see here. I have to go into a menu and it doesn't have a knob for it, and so I have to say that's a no. All I got is RF power and mic gain, and let's see here. I don't have an ALC adjustment. I'm just supposed to keep the ALC down. Actually, I've been using this I've been using the station for digital, so you don't want any ALC at all. So I just set it up for this contest tonight and give it a try. KC9VKV.
KC9VKV. Well, there is no direct adjustment for the ALC. ALC is a reflection of your audio level. So the adjustment for the ALC is your mic gain. And as you turn your mic gain up, your ALC reading will start to deflect upwards towards mid-scale. And the ideal position for the ALC is in the middle of its operating range to 2/3 to the right of its operating range. And that's all controlled by your mic gain. And you do have an anomaly as far as something going on the attack of the word. So I would, by all means, keep your windscreen on until you can figure that out. And that windscreen does minimize that problem. So I would go somewhere and I would transmit, and I would be looking at my ALC reading as I'm transmitting, and I would have my mic gain on the menu open, and as I spoke, I would be turning my mic gain up to where my ALC was reading mid-scale to 2/3. Roger?
Yeah, roger that. I went ahead and adjusted that, but my gain up, I'm still not getting any much movement on it. So I'll do that. And I appreciate it, Jim. And I'll check it out in a few days on YouTube, see what it sounds like. If I have some luck with it, I'll check back in with you a little bit later on today. Thank you very much. KC9VKV from KTV. Have a good day.
Roger, Roger, Ron. It just sounds like your audio system limiter is getting spooked. It sounds like your audio limiter is getting spooked, or your compressor is getting spooked. Something that, you know, you only got two things there. You've got your compressor, and I'm assuming that's out of the line, so the only other thing is your ALC, and it sounds like it's getting spooked by the audio level somehow at the beginning of the words, and it sucks that first part of the word way down and then recovers in the next half a second or so. So I would just look into that. 3 is Ron, and maybe, you know, if you need more checks or get it figured out, give us a shout back. This is KC9VKV and our Qso-Vlog recording for Friday morning. If you have a radio that you want to check out, give us a shout. We are recording, and we'll post that back up on YouTube, and you'll be able to do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor, and that will take you to our Qso-Vlog page. And when you get there, you'll find one session that's marked My Group Air Check, and the date 10/26/18, and the frequency is 7193. This is KC9VKV.